I had just walked into the studio after a long business trip, and the last thing I expected was to witness my world unraveling before my eyes. As I approached the entrance, I caught sight of Hannah and Jeff on the street, laughing and huddling close together. My heart sank as I saw the way they looked at each other. There was no mistaking it. The intimacy, the shared smiles, the glances that lingered too long, they weren't just friends. It felt like time had slowed down. I stood there, frozen, as they shared a lingering kiss before heading inside. It wasn't the kind of kiss you share with a colleague or a friend. It was the kiss of lovers. My mind raced, trying to process the betrayal, the sting of their disloyalty. My wife, my partner, with our editor. I couldn't believe it. That night, I was consumed by a storm of emotions, anger, disbelief, and a twisted sense of betrayal that fueled my resolve. If Hannah and Jeff thought they could get away with this, they were sorely mistaken. I had a plan. I would expose their deceit, but I needed to do it in a way that would leave no room for doubt. I started by going through the footage from the security cameras around the studio. It was clear from their interactions that something was amiss. I found clips of their secret meetings, their hushed conversations, and their stolen moments together. Each frame was like a dagger to my heart, but it only solidified my determination. I decided to use our talk show, Celebrity Secrets, as the stage for my revenge. The show was known for its sensational content and had a reputation for revealing the juiciest details about celebrities. I was going to turn the spotlight on Hannah and Jeff, but I needed to ensure everything looked like a part of our regular programming. The perfect ruse. Over the next few days, I meticulously planned the special episode. I wanted to make it seem like a typical show, full of celebrity gossip and scandals, to avoid arousing suspicion. I even had the team working overtime to create the most shocking content possible, masking my true intentions under layers of entertainment. The day of the broadcast arrived, and I was as calm as a stone, hiding the storm inside me. Hannah and Jeff were oblivious to the surprise I had in store for them. They were all too eager to appear in front of the cameras, playing their roles as if nothing was wrong. Little did they know, the final segment of tonight's show would shatter their lives. As the live broadcast began, I watched with a detached sense of satisfaction. We moved through the regular segments, discussing celebrity fashion, scandals, and rumors. Everything seemed normal, but my mind was focused on the final act. When the time came, I introduced the segment about revealing celebrity secrets in a dramatic tone, heightening the anticipation. I could see the excitement in Hannah's eyes, the curiosity in Jeff's. They had no idea that the secrets being revealed tonight would be their own. I signaled to the control room, and the screen behind us lit up with the damning images. The room went silent as the photos of Hannah and Jeff's affair appeared on the giant screen. Gasps filled the studio, and I watched as Hannah's face drained of color. Jeff looked like he had seen a ghost. Hannah tried to maintain her composure, but it was clear she was crumbling. She attempted to deflect, to downplay the situation, but the damage was done. The audience was in shock, their murmurs turning into a roar of disapproval. The once celebrated duo of our show was now the center of a scandal that would follow them for years to come. As the final segment concluded and the cameras shut off, I felt a strange mix of relief and satisfaction. Hannah's career was unraveling before her eyes, and I was finally free from the shadow of betrayal. The public support was overwhelming, and the vindication I had longed for was mine. As I stood there, watching the wreckage of what used to be my life and my career, I knew one thing for certain: I had taken back control. The world would remember this episode, not for the celebrities we had once covered, but for the shocking downfall of the show's own hosts. The aftermath of the broadcast was like stepping into a hurricane. As soon as the cameras stopped rolling, chaos erupted in the studio. Hannah was on the verge of a breakdown, her face a mask of shock and fury. Jeff, who had always been so composed and confident, looked like he was about to crumble into pieces. I could see the realization dawn on them. This wasn't just a bad day at work, it was the end of their careers. I took a moment to compose myself, retreating to my office while the media frenzy began. My phone buzzed incessantly with messages from reporters and colleagues. The headlines were already popping up. Talk show hosts caught in scandalous affair, celebrity secrets exposed, shocking betrayal. The news spread like wildfire, and I couldn't help but feel a grim satisfaction. The world was now fully aware of Hannah and Jeff's deceit. The following morning, the studio was abuzz with speculation and outrage. The fallout was immediate and intense. Hannah's fanbase, which had once adored her, was now turning against her. Her social media accounts were flooded with angry comments and accusations. The network was bombarded with calls from viewers and sponsors demanding explanations. I knew it was only going to get worse. The public had a short memory, but the shock value of the scandal was undeniable. My decision to reveal the affair had been a calculated risk, but it had paid off beyond my expectations. Hannah's career was collapsing in real time, and Jeff's reputation was in tatters. Hannah called me to her office, trying to maintain an air of dignity despite the chaos. Her voice was trembling as she attempted to explain her actions, but I had no interest in hearing her excuses. I listened politely, but inside, I felt a cold satisfaction. The humiliation she was experiencing was a small price to pay for the betrayal she had inflicted. As we spoke, I couldn't ignore the fact that this scandal would have far-reaching consequences. The network executives were furious, and there were discussions about the future of the show. Would they replace Hannah, or would they cancel it altogether? My mind raced with the implications of both scenarios. In the days that followed, I watched as Hannah's public image continued to deteriorate. News outlets were relentless in their coverage, and her once glamorous persona was now associated with scandal and infidelity. The network decided to cut ties with her, and Jeff was swiftly removed from his position. Their careers were effectively over, and the media circus showed no signs of slowing down. Despite the chaos, I had to maintain a professional front. The show must go on, and I was determined to keep it running. I found myself in the spotlight more than ever before, hailed as the man who exposed the truth. The public support was overwhelming, but I knew that it wouldn't last forever. Scandals have a way of fading from the headlines, and soon, the world would move on to the next big story. I made sure to keep a low profile, avoiding interviews and public appearances. I focused on rebuilding the show and stabilizing my position. It was a challenging task, but I was driven by the need to prove that I could succeed despite the turmoil. As for Hannah and Jeff, their lives were in disarray. I couldn't help but wonder if they would ever fully recover from the scandal. The public's perception of them had changed irrevocably, and their careers would likely never return to their former glory. I had achieved my goal, but it came at a cost. The personal satisfaction of seeing Hannah's downfall was tempered by the realization that betrayal leaves scars that go far beyond the immediate consequences. I was no longer just the host of a talk show. I was a man who had faced the darkest aspects of trust and deception. In the end, the story of Hannah and Jeff became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can fall from grace when they least expect it. And as I moved forward, I knew that the road ahead would be paved with both challenges and opportunities. The show must go on, and so must I. The dust was beginning to settle, but the wreckage of the scandal still loomed large. With Hannah and Jeff gone, I was left to pick up the pieces and rebuild the show. The network executives were keen to move forward, but the task of replacing Hannah and rebranding our show was daunting. It wasn't just about finding a new co-host, it was about restoring the credibility and appeal that had been so dramatically tarnished. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into work. Meetings with potential replacements, brainstorming sessions for new show formats, and interviews with public relations experts became my daily routine. The process was exhausting but necessary. I needed to ensure that the show not only survived but thrived in this new chapter. One of the most difficult aspects was dealing with the lingering public interest in the scandal. Despite my efforts to focus on the future, the media continued to circle like vultures. Each day brought new articles and headlines, often dredging up old details or speculating about the next big scandal. I learned to navigate this new reality with a carefully crafted public persona, one of resilience and professionalism. During this time, I had to make a tough decision about the show's direction. The scandal had exposed the darker side of the entertainment industry, and I wanted our show to reflect a more positive and engaging tone. I consulted with the new team, including a talented producer named Jenna, who had fresh ideas about how to revitalize the program. Together, we rebranded the show, focusing on uplifting stories, inspiring interviews, and behind-the-scenes glimpses into the lives of celebrities, without the sensationalism that had previously defined our content. As we worked on the rebranding, I also took time to reflect on my own life. The betrayal I had faced had left me with more than just professional challenges, it had also forced me to reevaluate my personal relationships and priorities. I began to reconnect with old friends and family members, finding solace in the support they offered. The experience had taught me the importance of having a strong support network and staying grounded amidst the chaos. Eventually, we launched the revamped show with a new co-host, a charismatic journalist named Maria, who brought a fresh perspective and energy to the program. The debut episode was a success, receiving positive feedback from both viewers and critics. It was clear that our new approach resonated with the audience, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The transition was not without its challenges. There were lingering concerns about how the scandal might impact future episodes, and there were moments of doubt about whether we could truly move past the damage. But with each successful broadcast and each positive review, the show began to rebuild its reputation. In private, I continued to keep an eye on Hannah and Jeff. Their public appearances were few and far between, and the media had largely moved on from their story. I often wondered what their lives were like now, but I kept my distance. The past was behind me, and my focus was on the future. As time passed, the show began to regain its former glory, and my personal life found a new equilibrium. I had navigated the storm of betrayal and emerged on the other side stronger and more resilient. The journey had been painful, but it had also been transformative. Looking back, I realized that the scandal had been a crucible, shaping me in ways I hadn't anticipated. It had tested my resolve, forced me to confront difficult truths, and ultimately pushed me to grow both personally and professionally. I had faced betrayal and come out stronger for it. With the new direction of the show and a renewed sense of purpose, I was ready to embrace the future. The road ahead was filled with both opportunities and challenges, but I was prepared to meet them head-on. The show had become more than just a platform for celebrity gossip. It had become a testament to resilience, redemption, and the power of moving forward. And so, with each broadcast and each new story, I continued to build on the foundation of the past, shaping a new narrative for the future. As the weeks rolled into months, the show stabilized and began to carve out a new identity. The scandals and tumultuous drama of the past were becoming a distant memory, but there were still echoes of the old days that lingered, sometimes cropping up unexpectedly. One evening, after a particularly successful episode, Jenna and I were reviewing the show's metrics in my office. The numbers were promising, and the feedback from viewers had been overwhelmingly positive. We were on the right track, but there was a part of me that couldn't fully shake off the remnants of the scandal. Just as I was about to close the files, my phone buzzed with an urgent notification. I glanced at the screen and saw that it was a message from a journalist I hadn't heard from in a while. The message read, "Exclusive, the truth behind the talk show scandal and interview with Hannah." I stared at the message in disbelief. Hannah had largely been out of the public eye, and I thought the story had faded. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to click on the link. The article was a detailed interview with Hannah, revealing her side of the story in a way she had never done before. Hannah described her experience of the scandal, her feelings of betrayal, and her struggles since the fallout. She painted a picture of someone deeply affected by the public's reaction and the collapse of her career. While part of me felt a pang of sympathy, another part felt a sense of unease. The article had the potential to reignite interest in the scandal and undermine the progress we had made with the show. I decided to address it head-on. The next day, I arranged for a live segment where I would address the media and our audience directly. The goal was to reinforce the new direction of the show and to put the past firmly behind us. Jenna and Maria supported the decision, and we prepared a solid plan for the broadcast. When the day of the live segment arrived, the studio was filled with reporters and cameras, eager to hear what I had to say. The atmosphere was tense, and I could feel the weight of the past pressing down on me. As the broadcast began, I took a deep breath and faced the cameras. "Good evening," I began, my voice steady. "Tonight, I want to address the recent interview that's been circulating in the media. It's important to acknowledge that the past has had a significant impact on all of us. However, our focus now is on moving forward and continuing to provide valuable content for our viewers." I continued, emphasizing the positive changes we had made and the exciting future ahead. I addressed the challenges we had faced but focused on the resilience and determination that had guided us through. My aim was to shift the narrative from the past scandal to the present achievements and future goals. The response from the media and viewers was mixed. Some appreciated the straightforward approach, while others questioned whether the show could truly move on from the controversy. It was clear that the past still had a grip on public perception, but I was determined to keep pushing forward. In the weeks following the segment, the focus gradually shifted. The media started to move on to other stories, and the attention on the scandal waned. We continued to build on the momentum we had gained, and the show's new direction began to take root. Despite the progress, I couldn't ignore the occasional reminders of the past. Some former colleagues and industry insiders would bring up the scandal in casual conversations, and every now and then, a lingering comment or social media post would surface. It was a constant reminder that while the show was moving forward, the past was never entirely gone. During this period, I found solace in the positive changes we were making. The new format of the show, the fresh energy brought by Maria, and the support from loyal viewers were all signs that we were on the right path. It was a slow process, but with each successful episode and positive review, the shadow of the scandal receded a little more. I also began to reconnect with the core values that had initially drawn me to the world of broadcasting. The thrill of storytelling, the impact of sharing meaningful content, and the joy of engaging with a diverse audience were all aspects that reminded me why I had chosen this career path in the first place. The journey was far from over, but as I looked ahead, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The past had tested me in ways I hadn't anticipated, but it had also strengthened my resolve. With each new episode and each positive development, I was shaping a future that honored the lessons learned and embraced the opportunities ahead. And so, with every broadcast, every story, and every moment of engagement with our audience, I continued to build on the foundation of resilience and growth. The echoes of the past were fading, replaced by the promise of a brighter future and the unwavering commitment to moving forward. Months had passed since the scandal, and while the show was flourishing with its new direction, I found myself in a reflective state. The dust had settled, and the media frenzy had largely shifted to other stories. But the impact of the events still lingered in my thoughts and daily routine. One quiet evening, as I sat alone in my office reviewing show ratings and viewer feedback, I found myself contemplating the journey I had been through. It was a period of intense change and personal growth, and I needed to understand its full significance. The studio was eerily calm, and the usual buzz of activity was replaced by a sense of stillness. I looked around at the photographs and awards that decorated my office walls, tokens of past successes and reminders of how far I had come. Each item told a story, but none so poignant as the recent upheaval. I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The city was bustling outside, but I sought the solace of a quiet park nearby. As I strolled through the park, I reflected on the many facets of the past year. The betrayal, the public fallout, the rebuilding of the show, all of it had left an indelible mark on me. I thought about Hannah and Jeff, who had become symbols of a painful chapter in my life. Despite the satisfaction of seeing them face consequences for their actions, I couldn't help but wonder about their lives now. Were they finding any peace, or were they still grappling with the aftermath of their choices? The park offered a serene escape from the whirlwind of my usual life. I found a bench and sat down, letting the cool evening air clear my mind. It was in this moment of quiet that I began to appreciate the lessons I had learned. First and foremost, the scandal had taught me about the fragility of trust and the importance of maintaining a strong personal and professional foundation. I had seen firsthand how quickly things could unravel when trust was broken. It was a sobering reminder that integrity and honesty are essential in every relationship, whether personal or professional. The experience had also shown me the strength of resilience. Despite the intense scrutiny and public judgment, I had managed to rebuild the show and redirect its focus toward positive and engaging content. It wasn't just about survival, it was about thriving in the face of adversity. Moreover, I had learned the value of staying grounded amidst chaos. The support from friends, family, and loyal viewers had been crucial in navigating the storm. I realized that having a reliable support network made all the difference when facing personal and professional challenges. As I walked back to the studio, I felt a renewed sense of clarity. The journey had been arduous, but it had shaped me into a more introspective and determined individual. I was no longer just a talk show host, I was someone who had faced profound personal trials and emerged with a deeper understanding of life and work. Returning to the studio, I was greeted by the familiar hum of activity. Jenna and Maria were discussing ideas for the next episode, and their enthusiasm was infectious. It reminded me of why I had chosen this career in the first place: the excitement of storytelling, the connection with the audience, and the opportunity to make a difference through media. The show had become more than just a platform for celebrity gossip. It had evolved into a source of inspiration and engagement. The focus on uplifting stories and meaningful content had resonated with viewers, and it was clear that we were on the right path. As I prepared for the next broadcast, I felt a sense of accomplishment and readiness for whatever lay ahead. The past had been a crucible, but it had forged a stronger, more resilient version of myself. I was determined to continue building on this foundation and to embrace the future with confidence and optimism. In the end, the journey through betrayal and scandal had taught me invaluable lessons about trust, resilience, and the importance of staying true to oneself. It was a journey that had tested me in ways I hadn't expected, but it had also revealed the strength and resolve that lay within me. With each new episode and each step forward, I carried these lessons with me, shaping a future that honored the past while embracing the opportunities of tomorrow. The show and my life were moving forward, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever came next. Just as the show was gaining momentum and the wounds of the past seemed to be healing, an unexpected challenge emerged. It began subtly: a change in the dynamics of our audience, a shift in ratings that we couldn't quite pinpoint. At first, it seemed like a normal fluctuation, but as weeks passed, the trend became more concerning. Jenna and Maria noticed it too. The excitement that had once characterized our meetings was now tinged with concern. We gathered for an urgent discussion, trying to analyze the situation and identify the cause. The drop in viewership wasn't drastic, but it was enough to warrant a closer look. "We need to figure out what's driving this change," Jenna said, her brow furrowed. "Is it the content, the timing, or something else entirely?" Maria nodded in agreement. "We've made so many changes recently. Maybe it's time to go back to basics and reconnect with what initially drew our audience." We reviewed the show's analytics, audience demographics, and feedback. The data revealed that while our core audience remained loyal, there was a noticeable decline among younger viewers. The content that had resonated with them in the past was no longer engaging. It seemed that our shift towards uplifting and inspirational stories, while positive, had inadvertently alienated a segment of our audience that craved more sensational and high-energy content. I was faced with a dilemma. Should we pivot back to the high-octane, gossip-driven style that had previously defined the show, or should we continue on our current path and try to find new ways to engage our audience? The latter option felt like a retreat, but the former seemed like a potential compromise of our new values. After much deliberation, I decided to seek a balance. We would continue to offer positive and engaging content, but we would also introduce new segments that included exciting, high-energy features to recapture the attention of our younger viewers. It was a strategic move, aiming to blend the best of both worlds. The first step was to brainstorm new ideas. We held a series of creative meetings to explore ways to infuse our show with fresh, dynamic elements. We decided to introduce interactive segments, celebrity challenges, and live audience participation. The goal was to create an experience that was both engaging and inclusive. One of the most exciting additions was a new weekly segment called The Celebrity Challenge. It involved celebrities participating in various fun and unusual activities, often in a live format. The idea was to bring an element of spontaneity and excitement to the show, while still maintaining the positive, feel-good vibe that had become our hallmark. We also introduced a segment dedicated to spotlighting emerging talent, giving a platform to lesser-known but incredibly talented individuals. This not only diversified our content but also aligned with our mission of celebrating positive stories. As we launched these new segments, I kept a close eye on the audience's reaction. The response was cautiously optimistic. The interactive and dynamic features began to resonate, and viewership numbers started to stabilize. We were finding our rhythm again, slowly but surely. However, the challenge wasn't just about maintaining viewership. It was also about keeping the team motivated and cohesive. The stress of navigating through the ups and downs had taken its toll on everyone. I made it a point to regularly check in with Jenna and Maria, providing support and encouragement. One evening, after a particularly successful broadcast of The Celebrity Challenge, we gathered in the studio for a small celebration. It was a moment of camaraderie and relief. The new segments were proving to be a hit, and the team's spirits were high. "This is just the beginning," Jenna said, raising a glass. "We've managed to navigate through the storm and come out stronger. Here's to more successes and new challenges." Maria echoed the sentiment. "Absolutely. We're building something great here, and I'm excited about what's next." As I looked around at the faces of my team, I felt a renewed sense of optimism. The journey had been fraught with difficulties, but it had also been filled with growth and learning. We had faced the challenges head-on, adapted, and emerged stronger. The show was evolving, and so was I. The past was no longer an anchor but a stepping stone to a brighter future. With each new challenge, we were not only finding ways to overcome obstacles but also discovering new opportunities for success. As we celebrated and planned for the future, I knew that the journey was far from over. There would be more challenges ahead, but with a dedicated team and a clear vision, I was confident that we would continue to thrive and build on our achievements. The show was more than just a platform, it was a testament to resilience, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. The renewed energy of the show was invigorating, and I was beginning to feel that we were truly on a positive trajectory. However, life had a way of throwing curveballs, and one evening, just as we were settling into a new rhythm, I received a message that would disrupt the calm we had worked so hard to achieve. It was an email from an unknown sender, the subject line reading, "A request for a private meeting." The message was brief and enigmatic, simply stating that the sender had important information related to the recent scandal and requested a meeting at a discreet location. Curiosity and apprehension mingled within me. I was determined to put the past behind me, but the mention of the scandal made me uneasy. I decided to investigate further and arrange the meeting, wanting to ensure that I wasn't overlooking anything crucial. The meeting was set for the following evening in a quiet, upscale cafe on the outskirts of town. The location was chosen for its privacy, and I arrived early to survey the area. The cafe had a cozy ambiance, with dim lighting and plush seating, perfect for a discreet conversation. I waited nervously, my mind racing with possibilities. Was this a genuine lead, or was someone trying to stir up trouble? As I sipped my coffee, I scanned the room, watching for anyone who might be looking for me. At the agreed time, a well-dressed man in his mid-40s walked in. He had a distinguished air about him, with sharp features and an aura of quiet confidence. He spotted me and approached with a nod. "Mr. Donovan?" he asked. "Yes," I replied, standing up. "You must be Mr. Harris." He extended his hand, and I shook it firmly. "Please, have a seat." We settled into a secluded corner of the cafe, and Mr. Harris wasted no time in getting to the point. He explained that he was a private investigator who had been hired to look into various aspects of the scandal involving Hannah and Jeff. His investigation had uncovered some troubling new information, and he wanted to share it with me. "I've been following leads and reviewing evidence related to the scandal," Mr. Harris began. "What I've discovered might change the narrative you're familiar with." My interest was piqued. "What kind of information are we talking about?" Mr. Harris took a deep breath and pulled out a folder from his briefcase. He opened it to reveal a series of documents and photographs. The content was shocking: emails, text messages, and even surveillance photos that hinted at a more complex web of deceit than I had originally thought. "It appears," Mr. Harris continued, "that there were other individuals involved in orchestrating the scandal. Some of these documents suggest that certain people might have manipulated the situation to their advantage." I reviewed the documents carefully. It was clear that there were connections and details that I had not previously been aware of. The implications were significant. It seemed that the scandal had been more than just a personal betrayal. It had involved elements of manipulation and strategic maneuvering. "This is quite a revelation," I said, looking up from the folder. "Do you have any idea who might have orchestrated this?" Mr. Harris nodded. "There are a few suspects, but the evidence isn't conclusive. It's clear that the situation was more orchestrated than initially believed, but pinpointing the exact individuals involved is still a work in progress." I was left with a mix of emotions: shock, anger, and a sense of betrayal. The revelation added a new layer of complexity to the situation I had already navigated. It was unsettling to think that the scandal might have been manipulated by external forces. Before we concluded our meeting, Mr. Harris offered a piece of advice. You have the power to shape how this information is used. It's up to you whether to pursue it further or to let it be. Just be aware that uncovering more might bring additional challenges. I thanked Mr. Harris for his time and the information he had provided. As I left the cafe, I felt a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts. The past had not been as straightforward as I had believed, and the new information left me with difficult decisions. Back at the studio, I discussed the meeting with Jenna and Maria. Their reactions were mixed. Both were supportive but concerned about the potential implications of pursuing this new lead. It's a tough call, Jenna said. On one hand, you have the opportunity to uncover more truth. On the other, it might open old wounds or create new problems. Maria agreed. We've made so much progress. Do we risk disrupting that for the sake of pursuing this new information? I knew that the decision wouldn't be easy. The revelation had the potential to impact not just my personal life but also the future of the show and its renewed reputation. I had to weigh the benefits of uncovering the full truth against the potential risks and disruptions. As I contemplated my next steps, I realized that I was at another crossroads. The past was never entirely behind me, and the quest for truth often came with its own set of challenges. Whatever decision I made would shape the future, and I had to choose carefully. The journey was far from over, and the path ahead was filled with both opportunities and obstacles. With each decision and each new piece of information, I was not only navigating the complexities of the scandal but also forging a new path for myself and the show. The revelations from my meeting with Mr. Harris left me in a state of uneasy contemplation. The layers of deceit that had come to light were unsettling, and the potential implications of pursuing this new information weighed heavily on my mind. I knew I had to make a decision, but it wasn't one I could take lightly. As I sat in my office, surrounded by the familiar sights of the studio, pictures of past guests, awards, and the bustling energy of a new show, my thoughts kept returning to the folder Mr. Harris had shown me. The documents and photographs were a stark reminder that the scandal had deeper roots than I had initially believed. The next day, I called a meeting with Jenna and Maria to discuss our options. We gathered in the conference room, where the atmosphere was tense but focused. I laid out the details of the meeting with Mr. Harris and showed them the documents. This changes everything, Jenna said after reviewing the evidence. If what Mr. Harris is suggesting is true, it means we're dealing with a much bigger conspiracy. Maria, equally concerned, added, but how does this impact us? Is it worth diving back into this mess? Especially when we've worked so hard to move forward. Their questions mirrored my own internal struggle. On one hand, exposing the full truth could be a powerful statement, a way to clear the air and reveal any hidden agendas. On the other hand, delving deeper into the scandal could reignite old controversies and potentially harm the show's reputation. After much discussion, we decided that a careful and strategic approach was necessary. The goal was to understand the implications of the new information without allowing it to derail our progress. We agreed to start by conducting our own discreet investigation into the new leads, ensuring that we were prepared for any potential fallout. Jenna suggested we consult with a legal advisor to understand the ramifications of disclosing any additional information and to ensure that we handled the situation appropriately. In the following weeks, we worked quietly behind the scenes, gathering more information and consulting with legal experts. The process was meticulous and often stressful, but we were determined to uncover the truth while protecting the integrity of the show. During this period, I found myself increasingly preoccupied with the investigation. The weight of the new information was heavy, and the potential consequences of any decisions loomed large. I spent countless hours reviewing documents, meeting with advisors, and considering the impact of every possible outcome. One evening, as I reviewed the latest findings, I received a call from Mr. Harris. He had additional information to share, and he wanted to meet again. The urgency in his voice was unmistakable. We arranged to meet at a different cafe, one that was even more secluded than the last. When I arrived, Mr. Harris was already there, waiting. He handed me a new set of documents, and his expression was grave. "This is more concrete evidence," he said. "It connects some of the people involved in the scandal to financial transactions and communications that suggest they were manipulating the situation for their gain." I reviewed the documents carefully. The evidence was compelling and pointed to a network of individuals who had been involved in orchestrating the scandal. It was clear that there had been a calculated effort to exploit the situation for personal benefit. "This is significant," I said, looking up from the papers. "What do you recommend we do with this information?" Mr. Harris' response was measured. "You have a choice. You can expose these findings and potentially bring these individuals to justice. But be prepared for the repercussions. Or, you can use this information privately to address the issues without going public." I was faced with a difficult decision. Exposing the truth could be a powerful move, but it carried risks. The potential for renewed controversy and the impact on the show's reputation were concerns I couldn't ignore. After much deliberation, I decided that the best course of action was to use the information strategically. We would address the issues privately and ensure that the responsible parties faced appropriate consequences without fueling further public drama. With this approach, we aimed to balance our commitment to transparency with our desire to maintain the show's positive momentum. It was a delicate decision, but one that felt right given the circumstances. In the weeks that followed, we worked to address the issues privately, ensuring that the involved individuals were held accountable without making the situation a spectacle. The show continued to thrive, and the focus remained on delivering engaging and uplifting content. The process had been challenging, but it had also reinforced the importance of integrity and resilience. By handling the situation with care, we managed to navigate the complexities of the scandal while maintaining the positive direction of the show. As I looked back on the journey, I felt a sense of accomplishment. The past had tested me in many ways, but it had also provided valuable lessons. The experience had strengthened my resolve and deepened my understanding of what it meant to lead with integrity. With the weight of the past lifted, I was ready to focus on the future. The show was on solid ground, and the team was more united than ever. As we continued to build on our success, I knew that we were not only creating great television but also honoring the lessons learned from the challenges we had faced. The journey was far from over, but with each step forward, I felt more confident in our path. The truth had been uncovered, and we had emerged stronger and wiser. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace whatever came next. As the months went by, life at the studio found its rhythm again. The new segments were well received, and the show was beginning to regain its previous acclaim. Despite the ongoing efforts to move forward, the complexities of the past still lingered at the edges of my mind. Just when things seemed to be settling into a routine, an unexpected twist came into my life. One afternoon, as I was reviewing scripts and preparing for the upcoming show, my assistant, Emily, came in with a letter in hand. It was an envelope marked with an unfamiliar address and a handwritten note. The handwriting was elegant, but the sender's name was not immediately recognizable. "Oliver, this came for you," Emily said, handing over the letter. "It looks important." I took the letter and opened it carefully. Inside was a formal invitation to a private charity gala hosted by an influential figure in the industry, Eleanor Sinclair. The letter was accompanied by a brief note: "I believe you might find this evening both enlightening and beneficial. Hope to see you there. E. Sinclair." Eleanor Sinclair was a name I had heard in industry circles, a well-respected philanthropist and media mogul. Her events were known for being both high-profile and influential, but I had never had the opportunity to meet her personally. The invitation was unexpected and intriguing. Curiosity piqued, I decided to attend the gala. The event was held at an opulent venue downtown, a grand ballroom filled with the city's elite. As I arrived, I was greeted by a sea of glamorous attire and the hum of sophisticated conversation. I scanned the room, feeling both excitement and apprehension about what the evening might hold. The gala was a whirlwind of networking, elegant dining, and engaging conversations. I was introduced to several prominent figures, but my thoughts kept returning to the reason for my presence. I wondered what Eleanor Sinclair had in mind and why she had reached out to me. During the evening, I finally had the opportunity to meet Eleanor. She was a striking woman with a commanding presence, her grace and confidence evident in every movement. When we were introduced, she greeted me warmly. "Mr. Donovan, it's a pleasure to finally meet you," she said with a genuine smile. "I've been following your show's recent developments with great interest." We exchanged pleasantries, and I expressed my gratitude for the invitation. Eleanor invited me to join her for a private conversation in a quieter corner of the venue. As we sat down, she leaned in slightly, her tone becoming more serious. "I wanted to meet you to discuss something important," Eleanor began. I've been made aware of the challenges you've faced recently and the complexities surrounding the scandal. I believe I can offer some assistance." Her words were both unexpected and intriguing. "Assistance in what way?" I asked, my curiosity growing. Eleanor explained that she had connections and resources that could help in resolving certain aspects of the fallout from the scandal. She had access to influential contacts who could offer support, both in terms of navigating the industry and addressing lingering issues related to the scandal. "I've seen how you've handled the situation with integrity and resilience," Eleanor continued. "I admire your approach and believe that with a little support, you could not only stabilize your current position but also enhance the show's reputation even further." I was taken aback by her offer. The idea of receiving help from such a prominent figure was both reassuring and daunting. "What exactly are you suggesting?" Eleanor outlined a plan that involved leveraging her network to provide strategic support. This included media relations, industry connections, and potential opportunities for collaborations that could elevate the show's profile. Additionally, she offered to connect me with experts who could assist in further strengthening the show's content and audience engagement. The proposal was compelling. It presented an opportunity to enhance the show's standing and address any residual issues from the past. However, it also came with the challenge of navigating new relationships and expectations. "I appreciate your offer, Eleanor," I said thoughtfully. "It's a generous one, and I'm open to exploring how we might work together." Eleanor smiled, clearly pleased with my response. "Excellent. I'll have my team reach out to you with more details. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the evening. It's a pleasure to have you here." As the gala continued, I found myself reflecting on the potential impact of Eleanor's offer. It was a chance to not only recover from past difficulties but also to propel the show to new heights. However, it was essential to proceed with caution and ensure that any partnership aligned with our values and goals. The evening ended on a high note, and I left the gala with a sense of renewed optimism. The possibility of an alliance with Eleanor Sinclair presented exciting opportunities, and I was eager to explore how it could benefit both my personal and professional life. Back at the studio, I shared the news with Jenna and Maria. Their reactions were a mix of excitement and cautious optimism. We agreed to review the details of Eleanor's offer carefully and to approach the potential collaboration with a clear understanding of our objectives and boundaries. The prospect of working with Eleanor Sinclair added a new dimension to our journey. It was an opportunity to gain valuable support and influence, but it also required navigating new dynamics and maintaining our core principles. As we prepared for the next steps, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges of the past had led me to this moment, and I was determined to embrace the opportunities ahead while staying true to the values that had guided me throughout this journey. With each new development, the future seemed both promising and uncertain. But with a strong team and a clear vision, I was ready to face whatever came next and to build on the progress we had made. The journey was far from over, but it was one filled with potential and possibilities. The days following the gala were a whirlwind of activity. Eleanor Sinclair's team reached out to discuss the details of her offer, and the prospect of collaborating with such a high-profile figure brought a mix of excitement and trepidation. Jenna, Maria, and I dove into planning sessions, scrutinizing every aspect of the potential partnership. Eleanor's team proposed an initial strategy session to outline how her resources could be best utilized. They suggested a series of meetings to introduce us to key contacts and discuss collaborative projects. It was clear that Eleanor was serious about her offer and eager to make a significant impact. We scheduled the first strategy session at her elegant office downtown. When we arrived, we were greeted by Eleanor's assistant and led into a modern conference room with panoramic views of the city. The room was filled with a palpable sense of sophistication and professionalism. Eleanor was already there, awaiting us with a warm smile. After exchanging greetings, we settled into the meeting. Eleanor began by outlining her vision for our potential collaboration. "I believe there are several ways we can work together to benefit your show," Eleanor said. "Firstly, we can enhance your media presence by connecting you with influential journalists and industry insiders. Secondly, we can explore opportunities for high-profile guest appearances and exclusive content." Jenna, ever the strategist, took notes diligently. "That sounds promising. What about addressing the residual fallout from the scandal? Is there a way to help repair any lingering damage to the show's reputation?" Eleanor nodded thoughtfully. "Indeed, We can arrange for targeted media campaigns and press releases to reshape public perception. Additionally, we can organize events and interviews that highlight the positive direction your show is taking. Quote. Maria was equally engaged. And what about the creative aspects? Are there opportunities to innovate or add new elements to the show? Eleanor's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. Absolutely. We can explore collaborations with other media outlets and influencers to introduce fresh and exciting segments. Furthermore, we can leverage our network to bring in new talent and ideas. The meeting continued with a detailed discussion of potential projects and timelines. Eleanor's team proposed a phased approach, starting with media outreach and followed by collaborative projects and new content development. It was a comprehensive plan designed to maximize the show's visibility and impact. As we wrapped up the meeting, Eleanor invited us to a follow-up event, a private mixer with industry leaders and potential collaborators. The event was intended to foster connections and lay the groundwork for future partnerships. The mixer was a sophisticated affair, held at an upscale venue known for its exclusivity. The guest list was impressive, including some of the most influential figures in the media and entertainment industry. Jenna, Maria, and I mingled with the guests, making valuable connections and discussing potential collaborations. Among the attendees was a well-known media consultant named Oliver Reed, who had a reputation for revitalizing struggling shows. Our conversation with him was particularly insightful, as he offered valuable advice on branding and audience engagement. We're excited about the opportunity to work with Eleanor. I told Oliver Reed, do you have any recommendations for maximizing the impact of this collaboration? Oliver's advice was straightforward. Focus on leveraging Eleanor's connections to build a strong narrative around your show's transformation. Create compelling stories and highlight the positive changes. Authenticity is key. The evening was a success, and the new connections we made promised exciting possibilities for the show. As we left the event, Jenna and Maria were buzzing with ideas and optimism. This is exactly the kind of momentum we needed, Jenna said. With Eleanor's support and the new connections we've made, we're in a great position to take the show to the next level. Maria agreed. It's an exciting time. We have the chance to not only recover but to innovate and grow. The following weeks were filled with activity as we implemented the strategies discussed with Eleanor's team. Media campaigns were launched, new segments were introduced, and high-profile guests began to appear on the show. The response from the audience was overwhelmingly positive, and the show's reputation began to rebound. Despite the progress, I remained vigilant about maintaining the show's core values and ensuring that the new opportunities aligned with our goals. The collaboration with Eleanor Sinclair was a powerful tool, but it was essential to use it thoughtfully and strategically. One evening, as I reviewed the latest ratings and feedback, I felt a sense of accomplishment. The show was thriving, and the impact of the collaboration was evident. We had successfully navigated the complexities of the past and embraced new opportunities for growth. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative. With the support of Eleanor Sinclair and the dedication of my team, we had managed to turn a difficult situation into a platform for innovation and success. As I looked forward, I was filled with optimism and excitement. The future held endless possibilities, and with each new development, I felt more confident in our path. The journey was ongoing, but it was one marked by resilience, growth, and a commitment to excellence. The next chapter of our story was just beginning, and I was ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The show had not only survived but thrived, and with a renewed sense of purpose, I was eager to see where the journey would take us next. The momentum we had built with Eleanor Sinclair's support was invigorating, but the road ahead was not without its hurdles. As we ventured deeper into our collaboration, I began to sense a growing unease among the team. The success of the show was undeniable, yet the shadow of the past scandal still loomed, waiting for its moment to resurface. One brisk autumn morning, as I was going through emails and preparing for the day's meetings, Jenna walked in with a concerned look on her face. She carried a folder with her, and her expression suggested something important was at hand. "Oliver, we need to talk," she said, her tone serious. I gestured for her to take a seat. "What's going on?" Jenna placed the folder on the desk and opened it to reveal a series of documents and printouts. "We've received some troubling information. It looks like someone is preparing to leak details about the scandal again." My heart sank. Despite our efforts to move forward, the specter of the scandal had resurfaced. Jenna continued, "It seems like a few key individuals from the past are involved. There are references to the photos and documents that were previously kept private." I reviewed the documents. They included snippets of text messages and blurred images that hinted at sensitive information. It was clear that someone was preparing to make a dramatic revelation, potentially jeopardizing the stability we had worked so hard to achieve. "We need to address this before it gets out of hand," I said, feeling a surge of urgency. "Do we have any leads on who might be behind this?" Jenna nodded. "We have a few suspects, but nothing concrete yet. I think we should take immediate action to identify the source and prepare a response." We spent the next few days working diligently to track down the source of the leak. Jenna coordinated with our legal team, while Maria handled the media relations to ensure we were prepared for any potential fallout. Our efforts paid off when we discovered that the leak was coming from a disgruntled former employee who had been involved in the earlier stages of the scandal. The individual had access to sensitive information and was attempting to exploit it for personal gain. With this knowledge, we crafted a strategic plan to address the situation. The goal was to preemptively manage the narrative and prevent the information from causing further damage. We decided to hold an emergency press conference to address the situation head-on. The press conference was carefully planned to provide clear and accurate information while reaffirming our commitment to transparency and integrity. On the day of the press conference, the atmosphere was tense. The media was abuzz with speculation, and the studio was filled with journalists and cameras. Jenna, Maria, and I prepared for the briefing, ensuring that our message was strong and unified. As we stepped up to the podium, I took a deep breath and began to address the gathered press. "Thank you all for coming. I want to address recent rumors and concerns directly. We've recently become aware of an attempt to release outdated and misleading information about the past scandal. We want to assure you that we are fully aware of the situation and are taking appropriate measures." I continued, "Our focus remains on delivering quality content and maintaining the trust of our audience. We are committed to transparency and will continue to address any issues that arise with integrity and honesty." The press conference was a success. We managed to control the narrative and dispel some of the rumors. The media coverage was largely supportive, and our proactive approach helped mitigate the impact of the potential leak. In the days following the press conference, we continued to monitor the situation closely. The former employee's attempts to exploit the scandal were thwarted, and the focus gradually shifted back to the positive developments within the show. The experience was a reminder of the persistent challenges that came with managing public perception and the importance of staying vigilant. Despite the setbacks, we had successfully navigated another obstacle and reinforced our commitment to moving forward with integrity. As we looked ahead, the path was clearer. The support from Eleanor Sinclair and the resilience of our team had positioned us well for the future. We had faced significant challenges, but each one had strengthened our resolve and solidified our direction. The next phase of our journey was focused on building on the success we had achieved and continuing to innovate and grow. With the past behind us and new opportunities ahead, we were ready to embrace the future and shape the next chapter of our story. As I reflected on the events, I felt a renewed sense of determination. The road had been difficult, but it had also been a testament to our strength and resilience. The challenges we faced had only made us stronger, and with each new development, we were more prepared to face whatever came next. The journey was far from over, but it was one filled with promise and potential. With a clear vision and a steadfast team, I was ready to move forward and continue building on the success we had achieved. The future was bright, and I was eager to see where the next chapter would lead us. As the dust from the press conference settled, our focus shifted back to the day-to-day operations of the show. The challenges we had faced had only strengthened our resolve, and we were more determined than ever to move forward and capitalize on the opportunities ahead. However, the events had left me with a lingering sense of unease. Despite our successes, I couldn't shake the feeling that there were still pieces of the puzzle left unresolved. One evening, after a particularly demanding day at the studio, I was reviewing some documents in my office when I received an unexpected call. The caller ID displayed an unfamiliar number, but something told me it was important. I answered, my curiosity piqued. "Hello, Oliver Donovan," a voice said on the other end. "This is Victor Davis. I have some information you might want to hear. Victor Davis was a name I had come across in connection with the scandal. He had been mentioned in various reports as a consultant with insider knowledge. I had never interacted with him directly, but his reputation preceded him. What information do you have? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. I've been following the situation closely, Victor began. And I believe there's more to the story than what's been revealed so far. There are some key players who have been operating behind the scenes, manipulating the narrative to their advantage. I listened intently as Victor outlined a series of revelations. He claimed that several influential figures, including some who had been part of Eleanor Sinclair's network, were involved in orchestrating parts of the scandal for their own gain. It was a complex web of deceit, involving hidden agendas and secret alliances. Victor's information was intriguing but also troubling. It suggested that there were deeper layers to the scandal that had not yet been uncovered. As he spoke, I realized that the stability we had worked so hard to achieve might still be at risk. I appreciate the information, Victor, I said cautiously. What do you propose we do with it? Victor's response was direct. I recommend that you conduct a thorough investigation into these new leads. There are powerful interests involved, and it's crucial to understand the full extent of their influence. If you want to protect the show and your reputation, you need to uncover the truth. The call ended, leaving me with a heavy sense of responsibility. The revelations presented a new set of challenges, but they also offered an opportunity to address any lingering issues that could impact the show's future. The next day, I convened a meeting with Jenna and Maria to discuss Victor's information. We reviewed the details and considered the implications for the show. Jenna was particularly concerned about the potential impact on our collaboration with Eleanor Sinclair. We need to be careful, Jenna said. If the information Victor provided is accurate, it could affect our relationships with key players. We need to handle this delicately, Maria agreed. We should conduct a discreet investigation to verify the details. It's important to protect the show while addressing any potential threats. We decided to proceed with caution, conducting a thorough investigation to uncover the truth behind Victor's claims. Our goal was to gather evidence and understand the full extent of the situation without causing unnecessary disruption. Over the next few weeks, we worked diligently to track down leads and piece together the puzzle. Our investigation revealed a complex network of individuals with conflicting interests. Some were genuinely concerned with the show's success, while others had ulterior motives. One evening, as I reviewed the findings with Jenna and Maria, we discovered a crucial piece of evidence, a series of communications between key figures that revealed a coordinated effort to influence the show's direction. The evidence was compelling and suggested that there had been attempts to manipulate the narrative for personal gain. This confirms some of what Victor said, Jenna noted. We need to address this carefully and ensure that we protect the show's integrity. We agreed on a strategy to address the situation. Our plan involved confronting the individuals involved, ensuring that the show's direction remained aligned with our values, and taking steps to safeguard against any further manipulation. The next step was to schedule a meeting with Eleanor Sinclair to discuss the findings. Given her influence and connections, it was essential to be transparent and seek her support in navigating the complexities of the situation. When we met with Eleanor, I presented the evidence and explained the situation. Her reaction was thoughtful and measured. "This is indeed troubling," she said. "I appreciate your transparency and your commitment to addressing these issues. We need to work together to ensure that the show's integrity is upheld." Eleanor's support was invaluable. She offered to assist in managing the relationships with the key figures involved and provided guidance on navigating the challenges. Her involvement helped to mitigate the impact of the revelations and reinforced our commitment to maintaining the show's positive trajectory. As we moved forward, the situation became more manageable. The investigation had provided clarity, and with Eleanor's support, we were able to address the challenges effectively. The show continued to thrive, and our focus remained on delivering engaging and high-quality content. Reflecting on the events, I realized that the journey had been filled with unexpected twists and turns. Each challenge had tested our resilience, but it had also strengthened our commitment to integrity and excellence. The path ahead was clear. With a strong team and a renewed sense of purpose, we were ready to embrace the future and continue building on the success we had achieved. The journey was far from over, but it was one marked by growth, learning, and the pursuit of excellence. As I looked forward, I felt a sense of accomplishment and optimism. The show had not only survived but thrived, and with each new development, we were more prepared to face whatever came next. The future was bright, and I was eager to see where the next chapter would lead us. The stability we had achieved with Eleanor Sinclair's support and the resolution of the latest scandal was a significant relief. However, a lingering unease persisted, as if there were still unanswered questions waiting to be addressed. Despite the show's success and the positive direction we were heading, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. One crisp morning, as I was sipping coffee and reviewing scripts in my office, Jenna entered with a new development. Her expression was a mixture of excitement and concern. "Oliver, we have a situation," Jenna said, holding up a stack of documents. "I think you need to see this." I set my coffee aside and gestured for her to continue. Jenna placed the documents on my desk, and I began to read through them. They contained a series of emails and messages between various individuals, including some who had previously been involved in the scandal. The content of the documents was startling. They revealed a coordinated effort to manipulate the show's narrative and public perception. It was clear that there were individuals who had been working behind the scenes to influence the outcome of the scandal for their own benefit. Jenna looked at me with a sense of urgency. "This is more than just a manipulation. It looks like there's a deliberate attempt to undermine the show and its reputation." I felt a surge of determination. We needed to take decisive action to protect the show and ensure that the truth was exposed. We need to confront this head-on. The public deserves to know what's been happening behind the scenes. We decided to conduct a thorough investigation to uncover the full extent of the manipulation. Jenna and Maria worked diligently to gather evidence and identify the individuals involved. Our goal was to reveal the truth and restore the show's credibility. During our investigation, we discovered that some of the individuals involved in the manipulation were closely connected to Eleanor Sinclair. This revelation was both surprising and concerning. Eleanor had been a significant ally, and the discovery raised questions about the extent of her involvement in the situation. We scheduled a meeting with Eleanor to discuss the new developments. When we met, I presented the evidence and explained our findings. Eleanor listened attentively, her expression a mix of concern and contemplation. "This is troubling information," Eleanor said. "I had no idea that some individuals within my network were involved in this. I assure you that I'm committed to uncovering the truth and addressing the situation." Eleanor's response was reassuring, and her willingness to support our efforts was a testament to her integrity. We agreed to work together to investigate further and take appropriate action to address the manipulation. As we continued our investigation, we uncovered additional evidence linking several high-profile figures to the scheme. It became clear that the manipulation was part of a larger agenda to control the media narrative and influence public opinion. The next step was to prepare for a public disclosure of the findings. We wanted to ensure that the information was presented clearly and accurately, without causing unnecessary damage to individuals or organizations involved. We held a press conference to reveal the results of our investigation. The atmosphere was tense, and the media was eager for details. As I took the podium, I addressed the gathered press with a sense of resolve. "Thank you for coming," I began. "We have conducted a thorough investigation into recent developments and have uncovered evidence of a coordinated effort to manipulate the show's narrative. The information we've found reveals a deliberate attempt to undermine the show and its reputation." I continued, "We are committed to transparency and integrity. Our focus remains on delivering quality content and maintaining the trust of our audience. We are taking steps to address the situation and ensure that the truth is known." The press conference was a success. The media coverage was largely supportive, and our proactive approach helped to manage the narrative effectively. The revelation of the manipulation was met with a mix of surprise and skepticism, but our commitment to transparency was clear. In the days following the press conference, the impact of the disclosure began to be felt. The individuals involved in the manipulation faced scrutiny and backlash, and the show's credibility was restored. The support from Eleanor Sinclair and the dedication of our team had played a crucial role in navigating the situation. Reflecting on the events, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The challenges we had faced had tested our resolve, but they had also strengthened our commitment to integrity and excellence. The journey had been complex and fraught with obstacles, but it had ultimately led to a stronger and more resilient show. As we moved forward, the focus was on continuing to build on the success we had achieved and embracing new opportunities. The past had been challenging, but it had also been a testament to our strength and resilience. With a renewed sense of purpose and a clear vision for the future, I was eager to see where the next chapter of our story would lead. The journey was far from over, but it was one marked by growth, learning, and the pursuit of excellence. The aftermath of the press conference had brought a sense of relief and renewal. With the truth about the manipulation revealed, we were able to refocus on the show's future and the opportunities that lay ahead. The support from Eleanor Sinclair and the positive response from the audience had reinvigorated our team. As the weeks passed, our efforts to enhance the show and explore new opportunities continued to gain momentum. The changes we had implemented were beginning to pay off, and the show's ratings were steadily improving. However, the journey had taken its toll, and I could sense that we needed a moment of reflection and re-evaluation. One evening, as I was reviewing feedback from recent episodes, Jenna and Maria joined me in my office. The atmosphere was filled with a mix of anticipation and curiosity. "Oliver," Jenna began, "I think it's time we take a step back and assess our progress. We've achieved a lot, but it's important to ensure that we're on the right track and that we're meeting our long-term goals." Maria nodded in agreement. "We should also consider new ways to innovate and keep the show fresh. The audience has been receptive to the changes, but we need to continue evolving." I agreed with their assessment. The show's recent success was a positive development, but it was crucial to remain proactive and strategic in our approach. We decided to schedule a series of brainstorming sessions to explore new ideas and evaluate our current strategies. In the first session, we focused on innovation. Jenna and Maria presented a range of ideas, from new segments and interactive features to potential collaborations with emerging talent. The goal was to identify opportunities that could set the show apart and keep it relevant in a competitive media landscape. One idea that stood out was a new segment called Behind the Curtain, which would provide an in-depth look at the behind-the-scenes workings of the entertainment industry. The segment aimed to offer viewers a unique perspective and insight into the lives of celebrities and industry professionals. Jenna was enthusiastic about the concept. This segment could be a game changer. It's informative, engaging, and aligns with the show's theme of exploring the world of celebrities. Maria agreed. We could also use this segment to address current trends and topics, keeping the content fresh and relevant. We decided to move forward with the Behind the Curtain segment, and preparations began immediately. The segment would involve interviews with industry insiders, behind-the-scenes footage, and exclusive content that provided a deeper understanding of the entertainment world. As the segment took shape, we also continued to explore opportunities for collaboration and growth. Eleanor Sinclair's connections provided valuable leads, and we reached out to potential partners and influencers who could contribute to the show's success. One afternoon, we met with a renowned director named Alex Carter, who had expressed interest in collaborating on a special feature. Alex was known for his innovative approach to storytelling and had a reputation for pushing creative boundaries. During our meeting, Alex shared his vision for a special episode that would showcase the evolution of celebrity culture and its impact on society. The concept was ambitious and aligned with our goal of providing insightful and engaging content. "This episode could be a landmark for the show," Alex said. "It would offer a comprehensive look at how celebrity culture has evolved over the years and its influence on various aspects of society." Jenna and Maria were excited about the idea. This could be a great opportunity to attract new viewers and generate buzz. Jenna said, "We agreed to move forward with the special episode, and the planning process began." The episode would feature interviews with experts, archival footage, and a detailed exploration of the evolution of celebrity culture. It was a bold and ambitious project that promised to make a significant impact. As we worked on the new segment and special episode, the show continued to thrive. The audience's response was overwhelmingly positive, and the innovative content kept viewers engaged and interested. The team's hard work and dedication were paying off, and the show was experiencing a renewed sense of energy and excitement. Despite the progress, there were still challenges to address. The competitive media landscape required constant vigilance, and we needed to stay ahead of trends and maintain our focus on quality content. One evening, as I reviewed the latest ratings and feedback, I felt a sense of accomplishment. The show had not only recovered from the past challenges but had also embraced new opportunities and innovations. The journey had been demanding, but it had also been rewarding. Reflecting on the experience, I realized that the challenges we faced had only strengthened our resolve and commitment to excellence. The path ahead was clear, and with a strong team and a clear vision, we were well positioned to continue building on our success. The future held endless possibilities, and I was eager to see where the next chapter of our story would lead. With each new development and each challenge overcome, I felt more confident in our ability to navigate the evolving landscape and achieve our goals. The journey was far from over, but it was one marked by growth, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. As I looked forward to the future, I felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement for what lay ahead. The excitement surrounding the new segment, Behind the Curtain, and the upcoming special episode with Alex Carter had revitalized the show. We were in full swing, planning and executing our ideas with a renewed sense of purpose. The positive momentum was palpable, and it felt like we were finally turning the page on a tumultuous chapter. However, as we prepared for the launch of these new initiatives, I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that there might still be unresolved issues lingering in the background. Despite the progress we had made, the shadow of the past seemed to hover just out of sight, threatening to re-emerge at the most inopportune moment. One evening, as I was finalizing details for the special episode, Jenna approached me with a serious expression. "Oliver, there's something we need to talk about. It's regarding the past scandal and its potential impact on our current projects." I looked up from my desk, concerned. "What's going on?" Jenna took a deep breath. "We've received some information suggesting that there might be attempts to sabotage the special episode or the new segment. It's not concrete yet, but there are indications that someone might be trying to undermine our efforts." I felt a rush of anxiety. The thought of encountering additional obstacles was disheartening, especially with everything we had been working so hard to achieve. "Do we have any leads on who might be behind this?" Jenna nodded. "We're still investigating, but it seems that some individuals from the past scandal are still holding grudges. It's possible that they're trying to disrupt our progress." I knew that we had to act swiftly to protect the show and ensure that our new initiatives could proceed without interference. We need to take precautionary measures and stay vigilant. Let's continue to investigate and make sure we're prepared for any potential issues. The next few days were filled with heightened security measures and close monitoring of the show's operations. Jenna and Maria worked tirelessly to address any potential threats and ensure that our projects remained on track. Despite our best efforts, the tension was palpable. The thought of facing another setback was unsettling, and the pressure to succeed was intense. We had come so far, and I was determined not to let anything jeopardize our hard-earned progress. One afternoon, as I was reviewing the final edits for the special episode, Jenna received a call that made her face turn pale. "Oliver, we have a situation," she said, her voice trembling. I braced myself for the news. "What happened?" Jenna explained that there had been an attempted sabotage of the special episode's broadcast. Someone had tampered with the footage, attempting to insert misleading or damaging content. Fortunately, our security team had detected the issue before it could cause significant harm. "This is serious," I said, feeling a surge of frustration. "We need to address this immediately and ensure that the special episode goes off without a hitch." We quickly implemented additional safeguards and worked with the technical team to rectify the situation. Despite the setback, we were able to successfully correct the issue and ensure that the special episode was broadcasted as planned. When the day of the special episode arrived, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The episode featured an in-depth exploration of celebrity culture and its evolution, and the feedback from viewers was overwhelmingly positive. The episode received critical acclaim and further solidified the show's reputation as a leader in entertainment journalism. As the special episode concluded and the success of the new segment became apparent, I felt a deep sense of relief and accomplishment. Despite the challenges and attempts to undermine our progress, we had managed to persevere and deliver content that resonated with our audience. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that the obstacles we faced had only strengthened our resolve and commitment. The experience had taught us valuable lessons about resilience, adaptability, and the importance of staying true to our values. As we prepared for the future, I felt a renewed sense of optimism. The show had not only overcome past difficulties but had also embraced new opportunities for growth and innovation. With a dedicated team and a clear vision, we were well positioned to continue our success and explore new horizons. The final act of this chapter was one of triumph and renewal. The challenges we had faced had been formidable, but they had ultimately led to a stronger and more dynamic show. As I looked forward to the future, I felt confident in our ability to navigate any obstacles that lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but it was one marked by growth, learning, and the pursuit of excellence. With each new development, we were more prepared to embrace the future and continue building on our success. The next chapter awaited, and I was eager to see where it would lead us. With the special episode behind us and the successful launch of the Behind the Curtain segment, the show was enjoying a period of stability and renewed excitement. The critical acclaim and positive audience response were a testament to our hard work and dedication. However, amidst the triumphs, a sense of lingering tension remained. A reminder of the personal conflicts and unresolved issues from the past. One morning, as I reviewed the show's upcoming schedule, Jenna entered my office with a concerned expression. "Oliver, there's something we need to discuss. It's about Hannah and the fallout from the recent events." I looked up, surprised. "What's going on?" Jenna took a seat and began to explain. "I've been in touch with Hannah recently. She reached out to me, wanting to discuss the situation and explore the possibility of reconciliation. She's been struggling with the aftermath of the scandal and is looking for a way to move forward." I felt a mixture of surprise and apprehension. The idea of reconciliation with Hannah was complex, given the painful history and the public nature of the fallout. "What exactly did she say?" Jenna continued. "Hannah expressed genuine remorse for her actions and is seeking closure. She understands that rebuilding trust will be challenging, but she's willing to make amends and work towards a resolution." I took a deep breath, considering the implications. "I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. This is a significant development, and I need some time to think about it." Jenna nodded. "Of course. Take all the time you need. I just wanted to ensure you had all the information." As Jenna left my office, I found myself grappling with conflicting emotions. The idea of reconciliation was daunting, but there was also a part of me that wondered if it was possible to find closure and move forward. The decision was deeply personal and complex, and I knew that it would require careful consideration. In the following days, I spent time reflecting on the situation and seeking advice from trusted friends and colleagues. I wanted to make an informed decision that would not only address my personal feelings but also consider the impact on the show and the people involved. Eventually, I decided to meet with Hannah. We arranged to meet at a neutral location, a quiet cafe that offered a sense of privacy and calm. As I arrived, I saw Hannah waiting at a table, her expression a mix of nervousness and hope. When we sat down, Hannah spoke first. "Oliver, thank you for meeting with me. I know this is difficult, but I wanted to reach out and discuss everything that's happened." I nodded, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I appreciate you taking the initiative. There's a lot to unpack, and I'm open to hearing what you have to say." Hannah took a deep breath. "I want to start by saying that I'm truly sorry for everything that happened. I regret my actions and the hurt they caused. I understand that rebuilding trust will be a long and challenging process. But I'm committed to making amends and finding a way forward." Her sincerity was evident, and I could see the remorse in her eyes. It was clear that she had been deeply affected by the events and was genuinely seeking resolution. "I appreciate your apology, Hannah. The past few months have been incredibly challenging, and I've had to navigate a lot of emotions and decisions." We continued to talk, discussing the events of the past and the impact they had on both of us. It was an emotional and cathartic conversation, and while it didn't erase the past, it allowed us to acknowledge the pain and work towards understanding. By the end of our meeting, I felt a sense of closure. The conversation had been difficult, but it had also provided a path towards reconciliation. While we both understood that rebuilding trust would take time and effort, the discussion had opened the door to new possibilities. In the weeks that followed, we continued to work towards a resolution. Hannah made efforts to address her actions and demonstrate her commitment to change. The process was gradual and required patience, but it was a step towards healing and moving forward. As we navigated this new phase, the show continued to thrive. The success of the special episode and the positive reception of the new segment contributed to a sense of optimism and excitement. Our focus remained on delivering high-quality content and exploring new opportunities. Reflecting on the journey, I realized that the experience had been transformative. The challenges and conflicts had tested our resilience, but they had also provided valuable lessons about forgiveness, growth, and the importance of moving forward. As I looked towards the future, I felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. The road ahead was filled with possibilities, and I was eager to embrace the next chapter of our story. With a stronger sense of purpose and a commitment to excellence, I was ready to see where the journey would lead us. The resolution with Hannah had brought a sense of closure, but life in the spotlight was always evolving. The show was continuing to flourish with new segments and positive public reception, yet there were always new challenges and opportunities on the horizon. As we moved into the next phase, I focused on strengthening our team and ensuring that our efforts remained aligned with the show's vision. Jenna, Maria, and I held regular meetings to discuss upcoming projects and strategize for the future. One afternoon, as we were reviewing the upcoming schedule, Jenna shared exciting news. "Oliver, we've received a proposal for a collaboration with a major streaming platform. They're interested in developing an exclusive content series with us." I looked up, intrigued. "That sounds promising. What's the proposal about?" Jenna continued. "The streaming platform wants to create a series that delves deeper into celebrity culture, including exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and interactive content. It would be a significant expansion of our brand and could open up new opportunities." Maria added, "This could be a great way to reach a wider audience and leverage our recent success. The platform has a large and engaged user base, and the collaboration could enhance our show's visibility and impact." I considered the proposal carefully. The opportunity to collaborate with a major streaming platform was substantial, and it aligned with our goals of innovation and expansion. "Let's explore this further. We should review the details of the proposal and consider how it fits into our long-term strategy." Over the following weeks, we engaged in discussions with the streaming platform. The collaboration took shape as a multi-part series that would feature in-depth explorations of celebrity lives and industry trends. The platform provided substantial support, including promotional efforts and access to a wide audience. As the project progressed, we worked closely with the platform's team to ensure that the content met our high standards. The process was collaborative and involved careful planning and coordination. Simultaneously, the show continued to thrive with its regular episodes and new segments. The audience's engagement was strong, and the positive feedback was a testament to the hard work and dedication of our team. One evening, as I was preparing for the next episode, Jenna approached me with a thoughtful expression. "Oliver, there's something else I think we should discuss. It's about the direction of the show and our future goals." I nodded. "What's on your mind?" Jenna continued, "We've achieved a lot, but it's important to keep evolving and setting new objectives. I think we should consider exploring additional formats and expanding our reach further." Maria agreed. "We could look into new media formats, interactive experiences, and even international partnerships. The possibilities are endless, and we should continue to push the boundaries." I felt a surge of excitement. The idea of exploring new formats and expanding our reach was invigorating. "Let's start brainstorming and identifying potential areas for growth. We've come a long way, and I'm eager to see what new opportunities lie ahead." With renewed energy, we embarked on a series of brainstorming sessions to explore innovative ideas and strategies. The team was enthusiastic and creative, generating a wide range of possibilities for the show's future. Among the ideas discussed were interactive live events, immersive digital experiences, and collaborations with international celebrities and influencers. Each idea offered unique opportunities for engagement and growth. As the collaboration with the streaming platform progressed, we began to see the impact of our efforts. The series received widespread acclaim and contributed to an increase in viewership and audience engagement. The success of the project was a testament to the effectiveness of our strategies and the dedication of our team. The experience also highlighted the importance of staying agile and open to new opportunities. The media landscape was constantly evolving, and our ability to adapt and innovate was crucial to our continued success. Reflecting on the journey, I felt a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. The challenges we had faced and the opportunities we had embraced had shaped the show into a dynamic and influential platform. The team's commitment to excellence and innovation had been key to our success. As we looked towards the future, I was excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. The journey was ongoing, and there were always new challenges and opportunities to explore. With a strong team and a clear vision, I felt confident in our ability to navigate the evolving landscape and achieve our goals. The next chapter of our story was filled with promise and potential. As we continued to build on our successes and explore new horizons, I was eager to see where the journey would lead us. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace the adventures that awaited.